So we're here in Hannibal, Missouri. And I'm here with Cindy Laveau. She's, I would say, the foremost expert on Mark Twain. What are we going to see today?
Oh, we're going to take a cruise on the riverboat, the Mark Twain Riverboat. We're going to go in the Mark Twain Cave, which is where, of course, Tom and Becky got lost. But we're going to see some nice places, Cardiff Hill, Lover's Leap, the old cemetery. There's so much history here in Hannibal, and we probably won't get to see it all, but we're going to see a lot of it.
No, Tom, I'll never love anybody but you, and I'll never marry anybody but you. But you ain't to ever marry anybody but me either.
Are you guys here year-round? Strolling the streets?
Yes.
We're here until October.
Until October, and then it's too cold?
But we're Tom and Becky all year.
Now, I'm a native Missourian, but this is actually my first time visiting Hannibal. And once you arrive, you can see immediately why it's known as America's hometown.
In the small town of Hannibal, Missouri, when I was a boy, everybody was poor but didn't know it. And everybody was comfortable and did know it.
His father was the justice of the peace and attempted several business endeavors, yet the family continued to experience financial hardship. This didn't seem to hamper young Sam, who found mischief and excitement in his surroundings: the cave, the steamboats, the wide, muddy river, uninhabited islands, the woods on Holiday's Hill. Hannibal offered plenty of playground for its children, rich or poor, and would later become the setting for Sam's most beloved books.
The island coming up on our right is the most famous river island in the world, for it is the island which Mark Twain wrote about. When he wrote The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, he changed the names of several things. Hannibal became St. Petersburg. The Wit of Holiday became the Wit of Douglas. His best friend Tom Blankenship became Huck Finn. Laura Hawkins became Becky Thatcher, and this island coming up on our right became Jackson's Island.
This is Jackson's Island, and for everybody who's read Tom Sawyer, you know this is where Tom and Huck and Joe Harper ran away and played pirates for a few days. It's a 3-mile-long island that now has a little swath cut through it from the river changing. This is where the boys hid and where they got the idea to come back to their own funeral. This is also the island where Huckleberry Finn, when he ran away in his book, he hid out on Jackson's Island and where he met Jim.
I'm here with Captain Steve. Are you Captain?
I am.
All right. And here we are with Cindy, and they're going to tell us a little bit about Mark Twain being a pilot.
Of course, it was a big deal to be a steamboat pilot. You get your license from Congress. When I talk to school kids today, I tell them it's kind of like being a pilot on on the shuttle, on the space shuttle.
But in the old days, they didn't have all the electronic means of knowing river depths and weather and all that stuff. So you were pretty much at the mercy of what you had. So in order for them to know what the depth of the river was on a steamboat, they had to rely on the leadsman. And that was a gentleman who would stand either out on the bow of the boat, or they'd sometimes put him out in a skiff ahead of the boat if they thought they were going into shoaling. And he would drop a weighted line or a pole into the water. And this line or pole was marked off 6 feet, which is a fathom, and 2 marks was 12 feet. Now, in those days, 12 feet of water was safe water for those boats. They knew they could traverse the area really fine, and it'd be great with 12 feet. So 1 mark is 6 feet, 2 marks is 12 feet, Mark Twain.
He spent the whole Civil War and beyond out west, but that's where he became Mark Twain officially. He was writing for the Virginia City Territorial Enterprise newspaper, and on February 3rd, 1863, a little piece appeared in that paper, and the author of it was a fellow by the name of Mark Twain.
This tower stands in a valley or a hollow that we call Cave Hollow. And it got its name because it houses the Mark Twain and the Cameron Caves.
Okay, we are at the Mark Twain Caves.
And this discovery entrance right here, this is from 1819, 1820. This is where Sam Clemens, as a boy in the 1830s and 40s, with his friends, would actually climb up this hill and wiggle down into that little hole and pop right out into the cave and go off an adventure. There are 3 miles of passageways in here that these
So we're not going in the same way that they did.
No, we're not.
52 degrees in here, which contrasts the heat outside, but you got to kind of prepare for the elements when you come in here. Why is the rock slick like this?
Because this is a commonly used room. This is where they used to have city meetings. Where I'm sitting is where the mayor would sit. important people, and then just everybody that wanted to hear it would sit around. They make it a whole day thing. They bring their mules with sack lunches, stuff like that, and spend most of the day in the nice air-conditioned cave.
This room is called the parlor.
Yes, the parlor.
How big are these caves?
This cave covers 90 acres of land. It has 260 passageways, stretch all of them out into one line, equals to about 3 miles.
Whew.
Now again, remember that in the book of Tom Sawyer, Sam Clemens based Tom Sawyer on himself and Becky Thatcher on Laura Hawkins. And in the book, they get lost in the caves, bats knock out their candle, and Tom brings Becky here to the parlor, sets her down on the love seat. She's really upset, and Tom has to figure out how to make her happy. They finally make it out of the cave 3 days later, and they're very sick. And of course, it's based on the fact that Sam Clemens and all the kids in Hannibal would come down and explore these passageways.
17 caves out of the 6,400 in Missouri make reference to Jesse James, but we are the only ones, or one of the 3 that have proof that he's actually been here. And this is where we think he hid out because it could hold about 6 to 10 people, which is how many people are in his gang. And they could put someone up at the Discovery entrance, which is just down that passageway right there. And so they could put someone up there to keep watch, and then if they saw someone coming, they could run down here, warn the others, and flood throughout the cave.
Wow. Jesse James' signature.
Jesse James, September 22nd, 1879. It's been authenticated by 3 cryptologists from the University of Illinois.
Now to get back to where the signature is, it is very, very narrow. So this is a little off the beaten path of the normal tour. So here we are in some back portion of the cave. Go ahead.
We are in McDowell's chamber. This is where he hung his daughter's corpse. She was 14 years old, died of pneumonia. Hung her corpse here trying to petrify her, but the local kids found the body and had a lot of fun with it. And the parents didn't like having a body in the cave, so they petitioned with the sheriff to have the body removed from the cave. When Dr. Joseph Nastrodow finally took his daughter out of the cave, the body was in her for about 3 years.
Oh, wow.
He's still in pretty good
His
shape.
daughter was
It was
14.
in very good shape. It preserved her. It didn't petrify her like he wanted to,
Right.
but it preserved her really well.
She was the same age when she died. Sam Clemens was 14 at the same time. He lived here in Hannibal. Oh, wow. And he was one of the kids who would come in here. All the kids came in here and knew this body was here, but she's now buried down in the St. Louis Cemetery.
Yep, in the family mausoleum.
So she was 14 and her dad was a doctor, but everybody knew he was kind of experimenting and things like that.
He was very eccentric and he was well known, extremely well known.
And so when she died, he wanted to preserve her body and put her in a barrel that was copper but lined with glass.
Yes,
and filled it with
alcohol.
It was a cylinder.
And kids would come into the cave and they would somebody found the cylinder first, right? And then realized that there was something in there, so then kids would sneak in and then reach their hand in there and feel her head or feel her hair.
Yep, and pull her out sometimes and shine a candle on her
Oh
face.
gosh.
You can see all the signatures here. There are 250,000 signatures
all over the walls.
and dates, and you'll see the names of Sam Clemens' boyhood friends in here. We know that he wrote his name in here. He said he did. No one's ever found Sam Clemens' signature yet, and it could have been written on top. People might have just missed it, but we're always, always looking for Samuel Langhorne Clemens' name in this cave.
I'm going to get this stuff you just said about Injun Joe. So the real Joe Douglas was half Osage Indian and half Native American. And talk about his life. What happened to him?
Well, when he was very young, the Osage Indians didn't like that he was half black, so they scalped him as a kid, left him for dead. Well, then the Douglas family found him and revived him back to health. But not long after that, he got smallpox.
While on the subject of Injun Joe, let's talk about the political correctness of Mark Twain. In Huck Finn, the N-word is used several times.
So that word is in the book.
Yeah, it's in the book 219 times. That's a lot of times to use a word that's horribly offensive. And what you have to remember is Twain didn't throw that word around casually in his other books. He put that word in the mouths of people who would use it in the way that they did. And when you read Huckleberry Finn, you are being hit over the head with a frying pan, you're being poked with a sharp stick, you're having your nose rubbed in your own shame because that word is there and it's used in these ways to justify this evil institution of slavery. Good Christian men and women would never enslave men and women and children, sons and daughters. No, no, no. But using an awful N-word allowed them to justify all kinds of terrible actions and deeds.
And here's the inside of Huck's house. The ceiling is, I'm going to guess, maybe 6'5". The lower beams are probably 6.
And this is the dining room where, if you remember Tom Sawyer and the scene with the broken sugar bowl, this is where it happened, and it really did happen in real life. It was his brother Henry who broke the sugar bowl. Henry was the model for character of Sid, and sure enough, Jane Clemens came in and saw the broken sugar bowl, blamed Sam Clemens and whacked him on the head with her thimble just like Aunt Polly did. And when she found out it was Henry, she said, well, I reckon it wasn't a lick of miss.
Say that again?
So that was Sam Clemens' boyhood bedroom window, and Tom Blankenship would come over and meow, 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 you know, come on out and play, and Tom would climb out. There used to be a one-story room right here. It was probably a summer kitchen where they would have put here. This is Tom Blankenship's home, who became Huckleberry Finn, and he lived in here with 7 brothers and sisters. It's a tiny little place. But we used period wood from an old building that was being torn down, and worked from photographs to rebuild the home that had been torn down about 100 years.
And it was on this site.
This is the site. This is where the home stood.
And it was only this far from
The home is right
on the other side of this building here is the boyhood home of Sam Clemens.
We didn't get to show you everything in this video, but Down and Dirty Travel will definitely be visiting Hannibal again. And if you're a Twain fan, we highly recommend the CD Mark Twain Words and Music. We played excerpts from it in this video, and the CD benefits the Mark Twain Boyhood Home and Museum.